but not as good as we think. Yeah, the Knicks are an interesting team, an interesting bunch. Who are they going to keep? Are they going to try to trade Porzingis for Kyrie? There's a lot of interesting factors in the Knicks. All right, so next up, we're going to be talking with Jonathan Bates. We're going to be talking some Major League Baseball, talking about the Dodgers, talking about the Cubs. And we got him up on the line right here. Jonathan, how's it going?
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? Appreciate you for coming on. Always love getting you on, getting your thoughts on what's going on in sports. Today we're going to be talking Major League Baseball. So we've got, it's heating up. And Jonathan Bates, he's a baseball writer for Road Baseball MLB. Also has a podcast he's a co-host of on Charged Up Podcast. But being we're here in Dallas, we got to talk about these Rangers who are struggling, going through some struggling times, with pitching, with offense, with everything. But do you see the Rangers maybe making the playoffs?
Not at all. And yesterday just proved it. When they lost to the Chicago White Sox now. I believe they're 1.5 games behind in second place for the wild card, and they losing to teams like the White Sox was last in the AL. And that was just a hard-fought loss. You lose those one run games and those 2-run games and those like playoff games. And another reason why I don't see the Texans making the playoffs is because you have to look at the September schedule. The September schedule, and even the end of the August schedule, they have to play against the Angels 4 times. Then after that series, they play against the A's, which they can take 2 out of 3. But then they go back on the road and they play Houston. They have to play the Astros. So that's just the end of the August schedule, and you just have to look at September. And they play a lot of teams who are fighting for that wild card spot. In September, they play the Angels. Then they play the Braves, which they can take 2 out of 3. But then again, they have to play the New York Yankees. Then they play the Seattle Mariners. Then they play the Angels. Then they play the Mariners. It's not going to end very well against the Texas Rangers. Why? Is because this team is not like how they used to be last year. Last year, this team offense was outstanding. Last year, they had a decent amount of pitching that held them up. But right now, they're 26th in batting average, 18th on base. Yes, they're doing good with getting runs. They 6th. Yes, they're doing good with home runs. But their pitching cannot help this offense at all. They do not have a pitcher that's under a 2.99 ERA. The closest ERA they pitch is Andrew Krasner, and he's at 3.31. And he's not even doing a great job. His whip is 1.35 with only 61 strikeouts. And before I let you get on and talk, another problem is that their bullpen is not the same. The person who was supposed to be that go-getter for their bullpen, Matt Bush, is not having that same type of bullpen season. He has a 3.06 ERA. He pitched in 47 innings and lost 4 games. Now, usually a relief pitcher, they whip supposed to be good, under 1 sometimes, and at 1.1 something. But his whip is at 1.36. Last year, we seen a 0.94 whip. Now, this team has to do better. And I thought Matt Bush was supposed to be the focal point at his bullpen, but it's really not. It's just horrible from top to bottom for pitchers. The only pitcher who's really doing good is Caleb, but he's injured.
Right. It's tough watching this team. I watch as many games as possible because I follow them. I'm a fan of the team. But they have dropped off so much over the past couple of years. Everybody's expecting them to have that 2010, 2011 type of year where they made it back to the World Series. It's going to be very difficult to do that, especially with this team. I agree with you. The biggest thing is the pitching. The bullpen hasn't been able to withstand the season. We don't have a true closer. We trade for Jason Grill, and he hasn't, I don't even know if he's on the team anymore. We're bringing up guys. So it's going to be very hard for them to make the playoffs. Now, I would say this. They are 1.5 games out of the wild card. Anything can happen. But even if they do, the thing is, though, even if they do make the playoffs, the teams you're going to have to face are going to be better than you. You're going to have to face either New York, Houston, Cleveland, or Boston. All of those teams are stacked on both sides, on offense and in pitching. So it's going to be tough. It's a head scratcher, and it's tough watching this team because they are better. They're better than that. But you trade Yu Darvish. See, that's the other part, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Trading Yu Darvish, to me, that was the white flag. Like, this season's pretty much a wash. So let's move on.
Right. And I can agree with you. They're supposed to be, if they wanted to make the playoffs and make a deep run, you don't trade a starting pitcher. You don't trade an ace-type worthy starting pitcher really for nothing. Yu Darvish, you just put him on the Dodgers and made that team a little bit better. What if you meet the Dodgers in the World Series, which is not going to happen for the Rangers in the AL? Heavens no. But what if you meet them? You just gave them Yu Darvish, a pitcher that you do not want to face. He's supposed to be that ace pitcher for you. Cole Hamels really not having that same type of season. Yes, he's having 8-1 win and loss records, but I don't like looking at win and loss records for starting pitchers. Hamels is doing a solid job, but other than Hamels, who can you rely on? Cashner, he's inconsistent. Griffin, 5.07 ERA. Perez, horrible. Tyjun Ross, I'm glad the Cubs didn't sign him because he's just looking pitiful right now. He should just retire. But the Rangers is not making the playoffs, and if they do make the playoffs, it's going to be futile because I don't see who can they beat with a bullpen that's real bad. The thing about MLB in the playoffs and the postseason, you have to have great pitching because those games will get long, and those games will be 1-run and 2-run games. And yes, the Texas Rangers have that offense to be in the postseason, but they don't have the pitching at all, and that will get hectic, especially in the American League where the offense is just tremendous.
Yeah, it is. They've put themselves in a situation to lose, just plain and simple. And I think with Darvish, here's my thing on Darvish. He's been up and down. He's been up and down through his time here in Dallas. He is a strikeout pitcher. That is his focus. That is what he wants to do. He's not a ground ball type pitcher. He's not somebody that's trying to get the guy out. He wants to get the strikeout. And that's fine. But the other problem is the Rangers have not been able to produce runs when he pitches. So when he pitches, if you're not giving him any run support, yes, his record's going to show bad. Yes, it's going to show a losing record. And I think that also factors in is that our offense is just too up and down, which we're leaning on Napoli. We're leaning on Napoli to get 30-plus home runs. We're leaning on an aging Adrian Beltre, who's still great. So it is all around tough this year for Rangers and Rangers fans, period.
Yeah, and for the Rangers fans, I'm sorry for bashing on your team, but I actually predicted the Rangers to win 88 through 90-something games again. That's just because that offense was just so powerful. And I thought that the team would have got another starting pitcher that can help the team. Instead of trading for Yu Darvish, you go out there and you be a buyer instead of being a seller. You still, I don't know what the Texas Rangers working with. Like, are they trying to rebuild? That rebuild is going to take a long, long time because you still have these right now type of players. So your title window was still open. The Cleveland Indians is really underperforming this year. They starting to pick it up a little bit. The Boston Red Sox, they are going in that game winning streak and then lose 3 straight. So it's really no upfront runner in the AL. And the Rangers, they definitely could have took that position this season. If they would have been buyers and if they would have got more pitching to support this offense.
Yeah. That would have been key in this trade deadline. If you were truly ready to compete, you would have traded for someone, not trading a top-tier pitcher. So you talked about the Cubs, and once again, we're talking with Jonathan Bates Jonathan J. Bates, baseball writer for Row Baseball MLB. Can the Cubs repeat? That is the question I think that is floating around Major League Baseball right now that a lot of people want to know.
I mean, I think so. I think the Cubs can actually repeat. And it's crazy because the Cubs not at their full potential yet. And they still number one in the NL Central. They 64-57. They just beat the Blue Jays yesterday. But I feel like they can go back to the World Series. Why? Is because this team still have the same formula to be successful in the playoffs. They have it all. They have the offense. They have Chris Bryant. They have Anthony Rizzo. They have Wilson Contreras, who is the Cubs MVP this year. They have depth like it's no tomorrow. Their pitching is still good. You have John Lester, who's have a ton of experience. You have Jake Arrieta, who can turn it on or off. You have Jose Catano, who they just traded for lefties. Now, let me get to this part right here. The Cubs have a great bullpen, but listen out. Hear me out. They're going to face the Washington Nationals in the first round. We all know that. Nobody is catching up to the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're doing something unbelievable this year. So the first round in the NL will look like it will be the Cubs versus the Nationals if everything stays the same. If the Cubs win out the division, then it will be the Washington Nationals and the Chicago Cubs. Now listen to this. The Cubs have two lefty starting pitchers who's going to pitch in that series. You have John Lester, that's going to be number one. You have Jake Arrieta, of course, going to be number two. And Joe Maddox can either put Jose Catano in there or Kyle Hendricks. I believe Jose Catano will be in there for the lefties, or he'll start Kyle Hendricks and have Jose Catano play that long reliever who can come in the fifth or sixth inning to take care of David Murphy or Bryce Harper. But the Cubs have the right amount of pitching to defeat the Nationals and the Los Angeles Dodgers because those key additions that they added. Jose Catano is definitely a key addition because they are lefties. The Los Angeles Dodgers don't really hit lefty pitchers that well. Washington Nationals really don't hit the lefty pitching that well, and they both teams have great left-hander hitters, and I feel like the Cubs have the Cubs have the Nationals and the Dodgers kryptonite, and that's the left-handed pitching. All the Cubs have to do is just execute. And right now, the bullpen is a big problem for the Cubs right now. The Cubs bullpen can just get back on that consistency level. If Justin Wilson, a formerly Detroit Tigers bullpen pitcher, if he can pitch exceptional, if he can pitch solid, then the Cubs will defeat the Washington Nationals, and it will take a long time to beat the Los Angeles Dodgers. But it's not a far-fetched now. The Los Angeles Dodgers have a lot of pressure on them since them being the best team in MLB. And how can they not succeed? They're going to have a lot of pressure on them to go to the World Series and having this great record. They're playing better than the 2016 Cubs right now. But I definitely feel like the Los Angeles Dodgers have a lot of young rookies, and they haven't even touched the postseason yet. So how will Cody Bellinger play in the postseason? We don't know. Will he fold? Possibly. Will the Los Angeles Dodgers offense fold? Possibly. Can they beat the Colorado Rockies or the Arizona Diamondbacks in the first round? We don't know because the Colorado Rockies and Diamondbacks have great hitting. So we shall see. But I think the Cubs can make it to the World Series if they bullpen can stay intact and if John Lester can give them a great start in the postseason.
Okay. I think the biggest thing for this team is to really not get caught up on what happened last year. I think their focus just has to be, it's a new year. It may not be what it looked like last year, but they still have the pieces. They still pretty much have the pieces. They lost the center fielder, Dexter Fowler, but for the most part, they've been able to continue, where they left off. Now, who they're going to face is very key. If they do play the Dodgers at any point in time, the Dodgers are still unprovable. They still haven't proven themselves. They're still not a team where you're going to say, or anybody could say, yeah, we're going to win, and we're confident that we can win any series, because they haven't done it. They just flat out haven't done it at any point in time throughout the past,